For great ideas and practical tools you can start using tomorrow to grow your business and separate you from the competition, you've come to the right place. If you're into B2B marketing and sales, then welcome to the one and only B2B Marketing and Sales Podcast. With over 60 and counting total years in the trenches of businesses small and large, they have a plethora of knowledge and experience that generate you more leads, capture more clients, ring up more sales. Well, doggone it, just make you more money. How about that? Always thought-provoking, yet dubiously entertaining. Please welcome to their respective microphones across 3 time zones, your co-ringmasters, the Dave Loomis, and not the rock star, Steve Miller.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the, let's see if I can get it right this time. Okay, the B2B Marketing and Sales Podcast.
Perfect. That's perfect.
Thank you very much. Okay, thank you.
Almost like my voice. Perfect.
That's right. And right along with me is Doug Loomis, who I couldn't resist that. No, I've got the Dave Loomis right here beside me, who is better known as Mr. Voice, the Voice. Go ahead. Tell us your name.
The Dave Loomis.
I just love. Yeah. I just love
hearing that. Do it every time. It takes us almost half the podcast.
Almost, but it's worth
about all this.
It's worth it. Okay?
But it's worth it. But it is worth it.
We are very excited.
Steve Miller. Yeah,
we are very excited. You know, I'm Steve Miller, better known as Kelly's dad and marketing gunslinger, and not the rock star. We are very, very excited about the fact that our podcast last week went over 1,000 downloads. So I am drinking actual bourbon here on air right now.
That's awesome. I wish I've got a board meeting right after.
For those
of
you that are just listening, you could,
I'm we're toasting you, and
we're gonna have to get some angels
spirit, no pun intended.
Right, but I know that you are short on time, so I don't want to take any more of our time chit chatting and stuff like that. We decided that in this particular episode, we were going to talk about a very, very volatile issue.
And this was a suggestion from a loyal listener, Justin from Wisconsin. Justin from Wisconsin. Thank you.
Justin from Wisconsin.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you for this idea.
Yeah. And the idea is we want to talk about the issues between sales and marketing. What I mean by this is maybe I should say it better this way, and you can correct me if I'm saying this wrong. We want to talk about the issues between sales departments and marketing departments, between salespeople and marketing people, because there are issues.
Yeah.
So
the way Justin put it, he suggested sales and marketing. How do they coexist? And that's sort of loaded, obviously, that because there's implied in there that it's a challenge for them to coexist sometimes.
Some people would say that they don't,
and it's true. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, some people would just simply say, "Look, they just don't." And I wrote down some notes because some thoughts that I have about that.
Yeah, why don't you kick it off?
Let me kind of make some comments about sales versus the salespeople versus the marketing people and this idea of coexisting. Okay, yeah, I think the very first thing that we should establish is where do they kind of rank in corporate perceptions, management's perceptions and stuff. The first thing I would say is sales has always come first.
Jeff Immelt from GE told me that marketing is where washed up salespeople go. He said that's what he used to believe until Beth Comstock came into his life and became his CMO and all that kind of thing. But so he changed his mind, but that's what it has been traditionally. Correct.
I think so. And in fact, there are a lot of business, small businesses, when they get started, the first thing they think of is, how do we make money? Right? We have to go out and earn money. Now, I'm not talking about companies that go out and raise money from venture capital or anything like that. I'm talking about people who are bootstrapping their businesses. And for them, sales is the primary way they go about this. They don't think about, oh, we have to create a really powerful marketing, strategy and bring, have marketing, thinkers and stuff like that. Sales becomes a very high priority.
Yes.
Wouldn't you agree?
Most definitely. It's critical. You can't really live without it.
Right. So, okay. In addition to that, if you look at the difference between sales and marketing people, all right, the way they are treated is different. So, like, for example, salespeople most commonly have some type of commission structure. They are rewarded for doing their job, which is bring in sales. Okay, but some are salary plus commission, some are 100% commission, and stuff like that. They kind of have a language of sales. So, like, for me, the biggest example of that is that when they go out to meet with a prospect, it's called a sales call, because those two words describe exactly what the objective is. All right. The objective is a sale. That's why it's called a sales call. All right. Marketing people don't have this they have a language, but it tends to be a very, what's the word I'm looking for? Vague is certainly part of it.
It's certainly less concrete.
It's very, very unconcrete.
It's more abstract. And it's a curiosity to the salespeople whose lives are so concrete. What do those marketing people do? What have they done for me lately? Right.
Salespeople have quotas.
Sure.
They have quotas. Marketing people don't have quotas. What's been interesting about the marketing, because from my perspective, everything should be measurable, everything. But the vast majority of companies out there, and I'm sorry to say that, vast majority of companies out there, they don't see marketing like that. They see marketing as a necessary evil. They think it's a good thing. They see it as basically creating awareness for their business and stuff like that. Like you say, the language is vague, very abstract. They keep coming up with new ways of describing old things. Just new words for describing old things. But on top of all of that, when times start getting tough, the marketing department is the first one cut. Whatever's on the line item for marketing, that gets cut or just kicked out altogether.
Yeah, this isn't really. You're not painting a very nice picture here. It's like, where's the love?
Yeah, that's exactly right. See, and they have almost deliberately been cast as enemies.
I have a question for you.
I'm listening.
So, and I may be jumping ahead because you may have more, but
I think that's enough enough of my ranting for the moment.
So now there's all sorts of fancy digital things that that marketing departments are doing, and they tend to be in charge of not necessarily the CRM system, but all the direct email that goes out of a CRM system and lead generation, lead nurturing. There's all sorts of great tools now, obviously, that will track people who come into the website, and we try to capture their information and then market to them. And if the leads become hot enough, we turn them over to sales, and sales is happy. And they say, why haven't you been doing this all along? Now, because those things are measurable, and in some companies, best practice, they might have goals for those. You could argue that sort of the new marketer, nouveau marketer, may be held more accountable for things.
Okay.
What do you think?
My response to that is I hear what you're saying. I understand that. Yes, there are I think what has happened over the years is that marketing people started to realize they didn't have any metrics. They just to say, oh, they had, they bought an ad in a trade magazine or a whatever kind of magazine for their market.
Yeah, they helped organize the trade show. They did all that.
But you buy an ad in a magazine and they say they have a subscription of 10,000, but then they come up with another funny metric that is pass along. Okay. Which I think is just one of the funniest metrics I've ever heard in my entire life.
I don't know how much that exists anymore.
Oh, sure it does. The thing is that most of the marketing metrics are, in my opinion, funny money. They're funny numbers. Okay. They really have very little to do with revenue in the company. Now, when you say something along the lines of well, they're going to get leads and hand them off to the salespeople. Historically, salespeople are very suspicious of leads that come from marketing. They're very suspicious. I can't tell you the number of companies, and you brought up trade shows. The number of companies who, they didn't take salespeople to a trade show. They just had marketing people there working the trade show because God forbid you're going to take the salespeople off the road for 3 or 4 days.
Right.
When in fact their customers were at the trade show.
Well, this is why we have these acronyms, MQLs and SQLs, marketing qualified leads and sales qualified leads. And, a marketing qualified lead is not as hot or not as qualified as a sales qualified lead. Now, sometimes there's a qualifier. There's a person whose role it is to take these leads and try and run them down and see, are they real or not? Mm-hmm. And sometimes when they're running that interference and they get those to the salespeople, then the salespeople can have a little bit more confidence that the leads are good. But
that's a very unusual situation. Most of the time, when we talk about the trade show type situation, where they collect what they call leads. They're not leads. They don't do a good job of qualifying them there. They don't do a good job of determining their needs and things like that. But they collect their contact information, and then they pass them out to the salespeople. And the salespeople, if they've never been handed a bunch of leads, if they're a new salesperson, they might go out and start contacting all these people, and then they come back and they go, they're all crap. They don't even remember stopping by the booth, right? And and then the ones who have been around for a few years, they get sent this pile of leads, and they go back and they just go, I'm not going to call on those. They're worthless, right? So the thing is, though, you and I both understand the power and the extreme value that marketing can bring to a corporation. So if we have this situation where it's marketing and sales, it's like at Hogwarts, the Slytherins versus I can't even remember the name of the other.
Hufflepuff.
Hufflepuff. Was that one of the houses?
I think it might be.
Well, we're gonna make it one of the houses there in the Harry Potter series. That they hated each other, right? And they competed, and they actually would try to sabotage each other and stuff. And I've certainly heard stories like that between sales and marketing. What needs to happen to make sales and marketing play nice?
That is a question that I was just going to ask. I've heard of some situations where there's I wouldn't call it an exchange program, but I would say a series of meetings set up that between sales and marketing, where marketing is interviewing sales and saying, how can I help you? How can we make this more effective, et cetera? And sales talking to marketing about, understanding what they do and vice versa. Now that sounds like sort of rainbows and unicorns. Like that would never happen.
Kumbaya.
Yeah.
We're all going to sit around the campfire and beat our tom-toms and
it has worked. But how about this role? When I was thinking about this discussion, this role of the VP of sales and marketing, does putting someone in charge of both sales and marketing solve any of this? Have you ever known it to solve any of this?
Well, first of all, I guess my question back at you is, have you ever known of anybody with that title?
Oh, yeah, I've known a person with that title, and usually what it is mostly a salesperson.
Yes, it is.
In charge of the sales force.
Yes, it is.
And the marketing coordinator and manager didn't really have a supervisor, so they threw it underneath that person, and that person probably needed a promotion.
Yep.
So they just said, okay, we'll call you this VP sales and marketing.
Yep.
And then the marketing manager complains, my boss knows nothing about marketing. They're just they think all we do is
Here's the sad part about that statement is that you and I both know the marketing manager probably doesn't really know very much about marketing either. So you got that going for him too. But I have that's a different discussion, and it might be pretty soon where we talk about the reality of understanding marketing. I have seen this happen so many times. In fact, I just had it happen with a company in the last 2 weeks that I was consulting for.
And what happened?
Well, they had a VP of marketing who hired me to come in and help them, fine tune their strategy and all that good stuff. Okay, and out of the blue, he calls me up and he said, I'm leaving the company.
Gotcha.
Okay. And he said, and they've, instead of hiring a new person to replace me, they're putting my job into the VP of sales. And his new title is VP of sales and marketing.
Oh, how about that?
And he set up a conversation for me with the new VP of sales and marketing. And within 2 minutes, I knew that I was not going to be working with this guy.
Yeah.
And because there would be too much education required, and he had to be willing to be educated. And I had no interest in taking him through the education process, and he had no interest in being educated.
Well, we only have a couple minutes left here. Do we have any positive suggestions on how to bridge the gap between sales and marketing?
Yes. I have one that has worked for me and my clients extremely well. And that is that the sales department and the marketing department have to work together to create the sales and marketing strategy. And what happens there is, that's from the beginning to the end. So, at the very beginning, together they are defining who their target market is. I call them moose, the moose in the forest, right? Together they define.
Interesting about what you just said is that you called it a sales and marketing strategy, and I've put together a lot of marketing strategies. And my marketing strategies actually include sales, but I've never called it a sales and marketing strategy. And I think that might be the key.
Well, when I'm with these people, and in order to make this happen, somebody way above those guys has to send the message to both both departments has to send a very powerful message that, hey, we've got this gunslinger coming in, and he's going to help you guys play nice with each other. And the objective is that if he succeeds with you, everybody's going to make a lot more money. Everybody's going to win. But you have to play nice with each other, and you have to follow his directions.
So it takes somebody that's over both sales and marketing, not the VP of sales and marketing usually, but somebody higher up who can set the stage. Oftentimes that's the way it is with all sorts of consulting projects and initiatives and that kind of thing. If you don't have top buy-in, you may be wasting your time. It's pushing a rock up the hill. So that is a great suggestion, Steve. I like. Yeah,
you just need to get you need to get and it's typically either the CEO or the owner of a company. I'm not talking Fortune 500 companies. I'm not talking about those. No. I'm talking about real companies.
Yeah, real companies. You know what might be interesting too is for another time. We won't promise for next time, but for another time, or maybe as something that we can put together that all of you listeners can download, is just sort of an outline of what's in a sales and marketing strategy.
Yeah,
because I think it'd be interesting to talk about and sort of compare notes for us. And
I would say I would say not just what's in a strategy, but what are the steps that you would go through?
What's the process
What's the process?
Yeah.
What is the process? I think that's a great idea. And oh boy, is that spinning in my head right now?
Yeah. Well, your
head is
spinning from the bourbon too.
Not yet. Not yet, but when I go get more, it will be spinning later on, because I'm so proud of our podcast having over 1,000 downloads right now, you know. And really, I mean, we've been out for a few months, but you know, we're still fighting we're fighting the good fight. And
absolutely
want to give people, you know, some people they kind of go, "Hey, you guys are teaching us stuff that we already know." I'm going, you know what? Sometimes you need to hear it again. And
for sure. Yeah, you can't hear it enough. It's marketing.
You cannot hear it. You cannot hear it enough. And I know that's true with my clients over and over and over again. And I'm not saying they're stupid.
No, I know you're not.
No, I would never say.
On that note, I do have to.
But I got to let you go. So yes. I want you because we've got more stuff that we're going to be talking about next week. I don't know what we're gonna talk about, but
yes.
You know. Oh, net promoter score. Let's just,
net promoter score next time. Sounds great. Love it. And I've got a lot to add to that. So this has been the B2B Marketing and Sales Podcast with the Dave Loomis and not the rock star Steve Miller. Thanks for joining us, and see you next time.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the one and only B2B Marketing and Sales Podcast, the source for B2B marketing and sales insight. If you enjoyed the podcast, please be sure to subscribe and leave these old guys a 5-star rating. Check the show notes for any links and contact information. You can always contact us by going to b2bmarketingsalespodcast.com. Thank you, and keep on marketing, keep on selling.